Welcome back. Look who's joining us today, Mr. Flippy Tail. He brings me a lot of joy. Joy is the topic today, that amazing three-letter word. Do you ever feel run down, burnt out, pushed to the limit, can't take any more? It's a grind, never going to get ahead. It's too much burden, just crushed by the yoke of life, wearing a backpack of rocks and burdens. Do you ever feel that way? I think we all feel that way from time to time. There's no doubt about it. And I guess one way we can all help one another is to remind one another of joy. And the purpose of life is joy. Well, says who? Your puritanical grandfather who said, it's not about joy, it's about my brother-in-law, who I don't think watches these. His motto for life was, I don't know if it still is, but he's still around. I haven't seen him for a long time, but I worked for him for a long time. And his motto for life was, life is shit and then you die. That sort of didn't really work for me, although it had an effect on me. Life is shit and then you die. So now I've turned to different sources of insight and illumination. See ya. And the yogis say that the nature of being itself, the ground of being in life, you might have heard this term before. It's three Sanskrit words put together: Sat, Chit, Ananda. Satchit, Ananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. And the great yogic masters of antiquity and all the way up to modern day say that the ground of being itself, the fundamental characteristic of being itself, is Sat, Chit, Ananda. What does it mean? Sat means truth, Chit means conscious, Ananda means bliss. The ground of being is an awareness of the truth of being, is bliss, joy. Paramahansa Yogananda, a great yoga sage of the 20th century, he had his definition of it, which I love. He said, it means ever conscious, ever aware, ever new bliss. And that's the nature of being itself. Now, I guess in any given moment, if we were to take a look at our own consciousness, our own state of awareness, we could note for ourselves honestly whether that's our state of being or it's something other than that. And if we're feeling burnt out, pushed to the edge, if we feel dry, if we feel down or depressed, we can always remind ourselves that we're literally standing on the structure of being itself, ever conscious, ever aware, ever new bliss. And oftentimes, just that realization in and of itself, just that recollection within ourselves, begins to change our perception. Each and every one of us is having broadcast to us, we might say, a signal of this bliss, very much as the sun sends out its rays in all direction. But each and every one of us has our own individual brain and nervous system. And each and every one of us is taking this Sat, Chit, Ananda, this energetic presence of being, and shaping it, molding it into, well, whatever we're molding it into. And so it is our opportunity, our duty, our joy, and our challenge to tune our beings to joy. Now, one of the best ways to be joyful in the future, I think one of the reasons we all work so hard and do what we do and keep up with our obligations, duties, challenges, and projects, is that there's this sense that one of these days that joy is going to come in. But then we all remind ourselves that the best way to be joyful in the future is to be joyful right now. Now, I'm not talking about us, but I'm talking about some people in general. They've reached a state where almost nothing would bring them joy. In other words, you could shower them with everything that they think that they wanted, or you could bring them everything in the future that they're working so hard for, and yet they still wouldn't be joyful because they're not tuned to it. They're not aligned with it. They're not operating at that frequency. So I've just been noticing for myself, I'm so super busy with all this stuff, and that's probably driving myself nuts. I kind of got sick, and it's like, why am I doing all this? And it's like joy. And then I can stop for a moment and I can realize I have everything right now. I have everything I need right now in this moment to be perfectly and absolutely joyful. It's not a matter of accomplishing one more thing or gaining one more skill or doing anything. It's my birthright. And that's an important remembrance for me. I wonder if it is for you. I'm curious what you think about the topic of joy and whether do you think the ground of being itself is joy? I think that it's a really valid examination and introspection for any one of us. But I really do believe that. I believe the ground of being is joy itself. And if I'm not experiencing it, it's not being's fault, it's mine. And to remind myself, get in alignment, remind myself today is the day of joy. Joy comes in the morning. Joy is being with my friends and meditating. And when I'm being a little too harsh on myself or feeling like joy is in the future, then it's my duty to remember joy. It's also an opportunity. Anyway, have a joyful day. Look out today for what makes you joyful. Be on the lookout for joy springing at you from every angle. I'll see you guys.